Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now. Hey everybody, I'm Chris Pirillo, and this is your Geek Out for today. Our Geek Out is brought to you by GoToAssist from Citrix. You can take control of your IT world from one simple cloud-based platform. And with GoToAssist, you can keep all of your systems up and running while keeping all of your users supported. You can provide live or unattended support from anywhere, even from your iPad. That was the thing that I demonstrated in a vlog the other day when I was trying to help troubleshoot one of my brother's Wi-Fi issues. I ended up fixing the problem by getting a new router, but without GoToAssist, it wouldn't have been half as easy to do, especially from my iPad. You can try it right now for a free 30-day trial. Head over to GoToAssist.com, click the Try It Free button, and use the promo code Pirillo. The top engager for today, according to the Locker Gnome app, which is free for both iOS and Android devices, we have the links in the video description, is Caleb Longnecker, and he's been participating not only within the app itself, leaving comments and plus ones, but he's also been sharing LockerGnome.com content on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and beyond. Believe me, I'm paying attention. Thank you, Caleb, and thank you to everybody else, all 5,000 plus of you, who have downloaded and installed and are actively using the free Locker Gnome app. Is it too late for MySpace? No, I do not believe so. You caught mention of MySpace's impending relaunch in yesterday's Geek Out. You may have viewed the video, too. New.myspace.com is where it currently sits, and it should blow you away, because it's impressive. And for anybody to count MySpace out of the race, well, you got to remember a few other tech companies that were once called disaster areas, doomed, Apple being one of them, and look at how they bounce back. Now, that doesn't mean that Apple is going to continue to do this and rise and do well. It's probably going to do this. I mean, that's what most companies do over time, of course. So I would not count MySpace out of this race yet, especially if they roll out what I saw there. I would be very proud to say that I have a MySpace account with 77,000 followers. Again. Before then, now, oh yeah. YouTube video habits to avoid. Some would say that your videos need to be shorter, not longer. And I know I need to practice being more pithy with my videos. But I think more than anything, watching your audio levels, and I've said that before, but I'm also cognizant of what happens back here behind me, because I realize you may be looking at the screensaver and that's drawing your attention away from me. But, at least that's not annoying you to the point where you can't watch this video, right? That's not annoying, or half as annoying as I am. Got Wi-Fi? You cannot be held liable for pirates on your network. Okay, dude, I didn't even realize this until I was troubleshooting my brother's Wi-Fi issues, and you saw that again in the vlog that we had just uploaded. He's running an old router, like 5, 6, 7 years old, one of my old routers when I handed it off to him. And, I mean, it didn't even have WPA2 security on it. I said, yeah, we got to swap this out for something brand new. And we did. It happened to be his birthday present. I got him a new access point. And he seems to be happy. Things seem to be fine. But the one thing that new routers have the ability to do is section off a part of your network for guests. Don't do that. I don't recommend doing that. Yeah, no. Don't ever do that. Don't let anybody use that network if you don't know who they are. And if you don't know how to monitor the other devices on your network, there are plenty of tools available if your router doesn't support it. I actually found this app is free. It's called Fing, and it's universal. There's a upgrade available, but I'm not going to pay for that upgrade. And it will tell me all the devices on the network, like their IP addresses, the types of devices they are, their DNS, everything. And it's clean, and it's easy. And it'll even do a port scan if I want. So, y'all gotta know what devices are on your network. If you don't recognize something, you should kick it off. 5 things you need on Netflix. Stand-up specials. Did you know that at one point in time, very briefly, I wanted to be a stand-up comedian? I didn't really make it that far. I'm sitting down. Gotta work on that whole comedy part. Though some people would say that my life is a comedy. It's more like a tragedy. Anyway, we've got some recommendations for you. I would say that I enjoy YouTube, not for watching music videos, but watching comedy, like stand-up comedians on YouTube. I mean, I'm pretending that's YouTube, but you can get to YouTube from anywhere, really. My favorite stand-up comedian of all time, that's a toughie. Eddie Izzard would be my favorite. Is it Izzard? I never really... He corrects people all the time, and his last name's not as funny as he is. xWallDock charger keeps your iPhone and iPad off the floor. And if you're like me, you need to keep your devices charged on a very regular basis. Here is a Kickstarter project. The producer emailed me and said, hey, Chris, I've got this project. I really like to share it with the world, and this is what it looks like. That cool? Like, you basically, and here's the thing, you don't need to rewire anything at all. It's just the plate that goes over the outlets. These would be standard outlets that you might have in your home. And it can accommodate more than just iOS devices. So I was more than happy to share the news of this thing that you may want to kick right now. Kick it! Why are alternative email clients dying? I guess by alternative, that would be the email client that doesn't come with your device. Many of you like Gmail. I know I don't. I like Gmail as a service. I just don't like the interface. It's kind of. I mean, I like web interfaces. I actually appreciate Outlook Web Access more than Gmail. I'm a big try pain kind of guy. Not to be a pain. But, the default mail experience on iOS has kept me very happy. Some people were very happy with Sparrow. I never really got into Sparrow, though. I might, now that, it was acquired by Google, and for good reason. A lot of people really appreciated how it worked. And maybe I should try Gmail through Sparrow. Although, now what's the point when they may be releasing a new version, after it's been sucked into Google? I think it would make a better Gmail experience. But then again, I never liked Gmail as an experience. I think it just boils down to these standard email experiences are good enough. Television online. Can reruns help your mind? I've made it no secret that I enjoy watching Frasier reruns, and I'm very grateful that all the Frasier episodes are available on Amazon Prime, their video streaming service that I can access by way of, at least the iPad now with that binary just being released. I like watching reruns, if only because it's comfortable, right? I remember something, and I think that's the idea, the crossover, that you're watching something, you remember something, it keeps your mind, fresh. You're able to remake those connections you once made when you watched the episode for the first time. Of course, I'm always reminded of the part of Back to the Future where Marty McFly says, oh, I've seen this one, it's a rerun. And, the kid turns to him and says, what's a rerun? Because reruns hadn't been invented yet. Of course, back then, the internet hadn't been invented yet. Elsewhere from around the web, Google says Maps not waiting in the wings for iPhone 5, or I guess iOS 6. I'm going to geek out about this in just a second. Windows 8 bugs plaguing Microsoft, Intel CEO said to tell staff. Surprise. With BlackBerry 10 on the horizon, RIM CEO Thorsten Hines says, we have a clear shot at being number 3. Yay. Actually, they do. I wouldn't count them out of the race yet, but I think they'd be probably jockeying for position number 4. I think Microsoft's going to get number 3. iOS 2, Android 1. At least as far as devices that are out there. In terms of the latest versions of the software, well, that remains to be seen. But it's kind of like this. There are more PCs in the world, therefore PCs are better. No, it's just a different licensing strategy that Microsoft took with hardware in relation to the operating system, much like Android, and Google took a completely different direction than Apple took. Apple wanted to control everything. That's its own ecosystem. Hey, it works. Android is more like Windows in the mobile ecosystem because, they license the operating system to be used by anybody. It's different in the sense that it's open source, but by its very nature, you knew it was inevitable they would have more devices out there because more devices can use the operating system. Duh! Just because it's more doesn't mean it's better. Although for certain things, Android works better. For other things, not so much. But I'm talking about individual tasks, not the grand everything. That's just nutty. Xbox challenged as cable plots to make consoles obsolete. I guess I have some consoles. I never game on them, and the software that they're running kind of sucks. I've yet to see a TV console that works well. I have to use like a third-party client in order to navigate my TV better, if I even use my TV. And I'm pointing to an actual physical HD TV, my Google TV, that I love. I love my Google TV. It's just that it's unusable. I mean, you can view things, but in terms of... Have you ever experienced a usable client, or I guess, software experience, a guide for all the programming on your TV on the TV? No, I'm guessing you haven't. It's just a guess. California Governor Brown signs bill clearing use of driverless cars on public roads. I would totally sit in a driverless car. No problem with that. If someone else wants to drive, hey, knock yourself out. That is the future. That is the one project from Google, apart from Glass, that I want. I want that. I do. Give me a driverless system. I'm in. It's probably a better driver than I am. Questions from the community. How long will Windows 7 be available in stores? Probably not for too much longer, I'm guessing, because Windows 8 is going to be out. I mean, it'd be like expecting that you could still buy Windows XP with Windows 7, although I guess with Windows Vista, you still want to be able to buy XP. Honestly, I think it's going to be around for a while. I really do. I don't think Microsoft's going to cut off its nose to spite its face. I mean, you can't really buy XP anymore, but I'm sure you could figure out how to get a hold of one. I mean, a disc of XP. On LockerGnome.net, Steve Nam writes, how often do you clean your laptop fan? I guess I've never cleaned my laptop fans anytime. Whether I'm using a Mac that I can't easily get to, like components inside, or a traditional Windows PC laptop. I never cleaned the fan, ever. Now the desktop, once a year. Okay, now allow me to jump back and dive deeper on this whole iOS 6 maps problem. Don't get me wrong. It is not perfect. In fact, it is far from perfect. Is it awesome? No. Flyover is pretty cool, but come on. We had that stuff with Google Earth. I mean, it's different, but, I mean, I wouldn't say that it was revolutionary. Not that I was expecting it to be revolutionary. In doing some research, I've never been to China, never lived in China, but apparently there are, 1.8 billion people who live there. And iOS 6 Maps works better in China than Google Maps did. This was suggested by people who live in China. So Apple Maps doesn't suck everywhere. And apparently some people in Canada, closer to the U.S. here, because, again, the world does not revolve around Silicon Valley or the U.S. I know, some people say, oh, we're America, and the world revolves around... No, it doesn't. We're not Americentric, okay? Canadians, some of them have said, Apple Maps is, way better than Google Maps, Okay, I added that last part, but they were saying that it's better. I guess I haven't had any horrible experiences with it yet. And I guess this is the bottom line. Apple wanted to control its own data. And you know what? I don't blame them. I would say the same thing for Google. Google wants to control its own data. Why do you think they set up Google+? They were tired of being shafted by Twitter and Facebook. They needed their own data. Hello? Makes sense. I would say the same thing to Microsoft. Why doesn't Microsoft want to own its own data? They do. Every company wants to own its own data. So why then did Apple release this mapping project the way they did, when they did? Their contract ran out with Google. And I'm sure it was heated, that discussion going back and forth between Google. And some people would say that, well, Apple is cutting off its nose to spite its face. We don't know. I'm guessing, though, in the state of Maps the way it is today, version 1.0, they are, it seems, in a position where they had to get something out the door. They wanted to put a product out there, and they thought they could do it. Their hand may have been forced, and it seems that their hand was forced. So even in certain parts of the globe, Google Maps works better. Other parts of the globe, Apple Maps seems to work better. Which is better? I don't know. And to tell you the truth, I don't care. The bottom line is we have increased competition. This makes complete sense for Apple to do. In terms of timing, though, I think they could have done it better. And in fact, I think they probably should have slapped a beta label on it, much like they did with Siri. And Apple's got an interesting problem. I mean, it's a good problem to have. They have how many millions of users on their devices? 25% of users updated to iOS 6 within days. It's all the iOS devices out there, 25% at least, are running the latest operating system. And I've pointed out how you could submit bug reports to Apple saying, hey, this is in the wrong place, this is in the wrong place. And you could help improve the Maps experience, which benefits you and everybody else. And Apple has the benefit of all of those users out there. Google's so far ahead of the game, of course, everything else is going to pale by comparison. So I'm not freaking out over this whole Apple Maps gate thing. It's going to happen. And I'm not excusing Apple at all. I think they could have done it better. And if anything, and I think we've even seen this, there are third-party apps available on the iOS App Store that you can download and use right now that work better than Google Maps. Waze being one of them. It's free. W-A-Z-E. You install it. It's crowdsourced traffic. In fact, I believe that Apple's Maps uses Waze partially for its traffic monitoring on iOS 6, their maps. So download a third-party app, and, you don't even have to necessarily pay for a third-party app, but it's out there. Plenty of third-party apps. I want it to be the default experience. It'll get there in time. The first version could have been better. But should that keep you from upgrading to iOS 6? No. I recorded a separate video saying you can get to Google Maps by way of, it's not installing, okay? Even though I said how to install Google Maps on iOS 6, technically speaking, it's not an app, but it is. It's a web app. And for people like my parents, if I say install, they understand. And so showing them how to get that shortcut is like installing a shortcut. Don't freak out over the battle of semantics. Just understand how regular users use this. So you can download a third-party app and be just fine. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I just caught this note. Garmin capitalizes on Apple Maps issues, updates its iOS apps with Google Street View transit directions and 3D imagery. So there you go. Download the Garmin app. Problem solved. It's going to get better over time. And in terms of the asinine assertions, I guess they are assertions, people are saying, oh, the metal scratches. Yeah, it's kind of what metal does. You scratch it. This is not made of adamantium. Yet. Well, the glass breaks. Well, it's glass, people. Oh, well, it should be plastic. Well, plastic gets scuffed in a different way. Come on! There's no such thing as a perfect phone in every possible scenario. Apple can't produce one. No one can produce one, man. There's gonna be a flaw. And with 5 million plus devices out there, the chances of people finding flaws with a regular clip, the same flaws, it's pretty good because there's a lot of devices out there. Of course there are going to be more flaws that are going to crop up. In fact, I ran into a flaw today. I don't know if it's hardware or software related, but I recorded a video of it and I'm going to submit it to Apple because I want to know. I want to see if the problem is mine or if it's systemic. So, by the way, what I had found was, and I'm going to go ahead and show you this right now. This is the vlogging camera here. I had to record it somehow. It appeared to be an anomaly when I was downloading an application. I don't know if you're going to be able to focus in. Do you see the blinky lights? It's very strange. Right under the dash key, it's like flashing, and then on the other side of the keyboard too, under the quote key, I was getting these like flickerings. Could be software, could be hardware, I don't know. But either way, I'm not just going to sit here and complain. I'm going to say, hey, is this a problem? Do I need to fix it? I've got to take the step. Could that happen on any phone? Absolutely. My God. It's hardware. It's software. Software can be improved. Hardware can be improved. But it ain't going to be perfect. Nothing is. Ever. Hopefully it gets better, though. And I believe things will get better. So, yeah, in terms of the whole map thing, the complaints about the iPhone, hey, it's going to happen. Nothing's perfect. And if you don't want one, you don't have to get one. No one's got a gun to your head. Don't know what to tell you. You can fix the problems, though. Or at least sidestep them. Don't know what to say. I'd say that about any product. I don't care who makes it. Sorry, had to geek out about that. A little longer than I was expecting. But anyway, thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for at least understanding why Apple may have made the decisions it made, specifically with Maps, whether you agree with it or not. Thank you. And we, of course, appreciate all the comments. As long as they're good comments, constructive comments, no name-calling or anything. Thank you for all the shares. If you like what I had to say, if you tell people on Google Plus or Facebook or Twitter, I appreciate that. The links. The LockerGnome.com links. Or the YouTube links. Thank you for tweeting them. That's awesome. I love it. I see it every time when you include at LockerGnome or at Chris Pirillo. And then, of course, thank you for the likes. Because even if you don't agree with me, at least you like my effort. And if you've made it this far in the video, I know you like my effort. Unless you just completely disagree with me. Although I don't know what you could disagree with me on. Because I made a pretty good point. Or at least I thought I made a good point. Every company wants to own its own data. Shock. Oh, wait, no. Hashtag shock. And I hate to break it to you guys, but it's not Apple's job to make the best phone for Google's services. That's Google's job. Apple can do with its phone what it wants, right? And Google can do with its phone what it wants. Why would you hold Apple to a different standard? And now we're getting reports that Apple drop-kicked Google from the contract a year ahead of time. Well, shock. They want to own their own data. Either way, we appreciate you being a part of this great community. Thanks for subscribing to not just this channel, but the Locker Gnome email newsletter on lockergnome.com. We'll see you later. Yay!